You're listening to The Unpenned Show with Paul and Andy, broadcasting live around the world. We believe freedom is free. It is enslavement that you're paying for. If you ain't mad by now, you're not paying attention.
Let's try and lighten the mood a little bit. What have we got over there? I think all we've got is Daily Mail stuff primarily. What you got, Stu? You're our reporter in the field. Let's change direction a little bit and see what we've got.
Well,
Pick a story. Let's get a start. We always chatter on about stories. We just get going on one and then I'm away.
well, it's nothing happy, does
Pick one. Just pick anyone. That'll be fine.
Oh, the bit about the pensioners? Government stealing all your money?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a shame about the pensioners now. I mean, the pensioners have watched so much TV and trusted them, I mean, local doctors and healthcare services so much now that you just got to feel sorry for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're now talking about taking the bus passes, the fuel allowance. I don't know about the bedroom tax, how it affects the pensioners. I'm curious. I don't know how it affects the pensioners. Do we know? I don't think we know for sure, do we?
I was of the understanding that it was just to do with council houses and people.
Well, we need to find out. I don't know, actually. So, but I'm just asking that, does the bedroom tax affect the pensioners? Well, I think it's been brought in for them, really.
Yeah, and
It doesn't always start where it wants to finish, does it?
No.
It doesn't always start where it wants to go. But I think it's been. I think they've been forced to sell their houses myself. And if they aren't, they're going to be. I mean, look at what's happening to them. I mean, a government body. What's the name of the government body? Is it Demos? Was it Demos recommended that the first £36,000 worth of care should perhaps be put up by the person requiring it, and the government have said, we're ignoring that completely. It's going to be 75,000 now.
75.
Yeah, the first 75,000. That's that. I mean, they're all privatised, these home care services, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
I mean, look at what's happening here. I mean, there's going to be no. There's
in-
no end to it.
I've worked
Yeah,
in
but
one
this
or
is
two of them.
75 grand. They're having your house.
Yes,
They've been doing this for some years now, by the way.
They have.
A lot of people think this is not what's going on. It's just a few select cases. Bollocks. Right? They're having all the houses.
Yeah.
The first thing to do when you're actually sick and you need in-home care, and this has been confirmed to me by somebody who actually does this, they don't look at the level of care you need.
No, they look
A
at your bank
financial
account.
advisor comes in
Yeah.
and they ask for access to your accounts so they can see how much you're worth.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly, so I'm not going to say this is for sure, but I know they have asked in the past for access to your account as and when required, which means they'll just take it when they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rather than make you sell your house, I'm sure you just sign it over, don't you? You just sign it over, and when the time comes, they just. I mean, this is what's going on. I mean, it's the Death Management Service knows exactly what it's doing. And with this sort of money kicking about, I mean, the vultures are everywhere, aren't they? Mm-hmm. We've got some We've got some horror stories about hospitals coming out as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing's going private, isn't it? The whole thing is going private in the end, but it's been done by stealth.
Problem.
I mean, the best thing is that we'll still be paying the staff's wages.
We will, yeah.
This is marvellous, isn't it?
Problem, reaction, solution, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but the actual
That's
company
what
that
it
takes
is.
the company that takes the hospital on,
Yes.
that gets the bloody staff wages paid by us.
By us, yeah.
So it's a win-win, profit, isn't it? I mean, not only is one company building the hospitals to lease to the government, then the government's fleecing us for the staff, and the actual owning company that's running the medical service, right, is probably just a front for the pharmaceutical companies.
Well, likely.
Well, of course
That
it
makes
is.
perfect sense, doesn't it, for them to do that?
Is.
Yeah.
And we just idly sit by. We just sit back and
We do.
allow this.
And how many, I don't know how many pensioners are looking into what cover they've got. I know they're on about you might have to take out an insurance policy to cover yourself as well.
Of course, you'll have to have insurance.
What are you going to pay? Are you going to pay your insurance policy or your gas bill? Or
Of course,
are you
you'll have
gonna
to have
pay your
insurance.
food
Yeah,
bill?
of course.
It's just I was chatting to a couple the other day. I went out to repair the cistern, and they're not elderly. They are retired, but they're retired because they've worked hard and they've put money away. They've saved money, and even they were saying to me the other day, we've lived in this house, we've no mortgage on it anymore. It's a big 5-bedroom house, and they want to sell it, but they know if they sell it, they can't get the money for it that they want, or that they've invested in it.
But they're never going to get it.
They're never going to get it.
They're never gonna get it.
And they can't. They were saying, even we can't afford the bills here at this house. It's getting to the state now where we can't afford the bills, and yet they've saved. But we know this is Agenda 21. Then
Well, this is.
if you've not looked at Agenda 21, look it up. You can go out and find that information. Go look it up.
I think that the chorus know about Agenda 21. I mean, it's horrible.
It is.
The farmers are going to suffer first, of course. The farmers are going to lose all the rights to the land. We know because that's going on in Australia now. Australia seems to be furthest along. With America's going well as well. Now, we think it's not happening in this country, but I can't find a lot of what's happening in this country. But you've been to an Agenda 21 meeting, haven't you?
I have.
Now, go on, recall that for us.
That was a Yorkshire Water meeting.
Go on, go through it, because it's very good, this.
They actually paid... just a letter came through the post. Would you sit in on a meeting? It'll take a couple of hours on such and such an evening, and we'll pay you 50 quid. So I thought, well, if Yorkshire Water have got 50 quid to hand my way, I'll go and have a listen. And basically, it was how many people around the table? Probably 15 of us, of different types of people.
So that was 750
women,
quid.
men.
That was 750
Yeah,
quid that
it
they
was.
paid out.
And they hired the room. They paid for the hire of the room.
That's quite a lot of money for a little small place like.
And paid for a guy's wages. He lived in London for him to come. And he was doing these around the country. So they was paying him for the hotel rooms.
Go on, because I know where this is going.
He had a little dictaphone on the desk.
We've never told this story, have we?
No, we haven't. No. And I'd love to know if you can put a comment on YouTube whether you were invited to go on one or not. But the demographic of people round the table, there's a few self-unemployed people like myself. There was some unemployed. There were some business people, some mums. So they'd done the research. Where they'd got all these names from, I don't know. I had to have a guess, I suppose.
You were probably picked first.
Probably.
Well, there was only you were the only alternative guess.
Yeah. Yes. I was the only one that kept putting a fly in the ointment. But basically, it made everybody feel guilty. He had a little program on his computer that was that you had to go through, and you could show how ways you could save water. Basically, they're on about water harvesting, how you can reduce your water bill. By putting in a meter, by putting in dual flush toilets, not running the tap when you brush your teeth, all this nonsense. Don't use your dishwasher as much. Don't use your washing machine as much. And if you've got an old washing machine and an old dishwasher, get rid of them and get a new one that are more efficient. Blah blah blah. Basically, picking people's brains, and that was, without a doubt. And I said, this is Agenda 21.
No, but the news story. You've missed the news story.
He
was quoting, wasn't he? He put some quotes in, didn't he?
He mentioned the carbon footprint, and he mentioned
a Telegraph article
that we've all got to reduce our carbon footprint. But he did ask the question, what do you think the carbon footprint is? And nobody round the room knew.
What did you
say? And even the guy didn't know that was asking the question. And I just said, it's us. And he said, what do you mean? Well, we create the carbon and we leave footprints. Carbon can't.
That was too simple.
The carbon can't leave a footprint.
No, he knew exactly you were right. He knew exactly you were right.
And
now I thought he actually came with a Telegraph article or something written.
Oh, he did. Yes, he did in the newspaper. I
can't
remember. Can't remember what it was.
It was very poisonous, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
It was one of those headlines that are written in a way that how dare you disagree with it.
Yes.
That's the crux of this story.
Basically, you're wasting water, and it will be your own demise. That's basically what it was. It will be your own downfall if you use the water without respect. Without respecting the water.
We don't know this has been taught to children. Well, we do.
Well, we
do now, but this has been taught to children. I mean, we're a little way off the actual control system revealing itself in a way that'll confirm all we're saying. But our children, or children of a certain age, have been taught this stuff at school. And they're going to bring it home. I'm aware of this already. They bring it home, and they actually openly say that, you know, don't run the tap, and we should have a shower instead of a bath.
Yep.
You haven't put too much water in that kettle, have you?
That's
and
it.
Is that washing machine full? And the kids are starting to become a little bit. It's uncomfortable. I'm not saying we should the water thing. It makes sense, but it's the kids that bring in these rules home from school, and I can't prove this, but I know that this will be happening. The teachers who teach the kids, that this is what we should be doing, after a week or 2 or 3 will be saying, how are your parents doing?
Yes.
How are they doing? Are they listening to you? Are they respecting the water? Are they looking after the planet's future? Because, to be honest, if they aren't, you're going to have to pay the price. And this is changing the actual dynamics of what's happening within families.
Yeah.
Because is there a water shortage? Well, I think it'd be hard to prove in this country right now, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I mean, over the past 12 months, was it record rain last year or something like that? I don't really know. But it was it the second wettest year on record ever or something like that? So they can't go with a water shortage.
No.
But the smart meters are doubling most people's bills. Now, I don't know if anybody's got a smart meter in, but I had to have one. Because the meter isn't on my property. It's actually in the road. So it wasn't as if I could even refuse to have one.
No.
It's only when it's on your property that you can actually sort of say, no, I'm not having it. Now, the gas and electric companies, their meters are on my property. And because I am a business, they've already had 2 goes at me with a gas meter. Already 2 goes. And they haven't put up much of a fight when I've said, no, I don't want it. And they've said, all right, okay, why is that? And I've said, well, I'm going to have to ask you to sign an agreement that it won't cause any health effects and it doesn't invade my privacy. And the person on the end of the phone was like, yeah, whatever. We just want to put a new meter in. And I said, well, I don't want it, thanks very much. And put the phone down. Never heard another word. About 2 years later, which was last year, I said, we're your gas supplier, and we've written to you and told you that we want to install a new meter. And I said, okay, then let's see what that entails. And they said, well, we're actually going to send an inspector, a surveyor around, and he's going to have a look and decide what meter's best for you. So I thought, okay, it doesn't mean putting one in, so I let him come. And sure enough, he came. Mr. Briefcase came in. I had a look at it and said, right, okay, it's in a cupboard there. The cupboard doors will have to come off. The shelf will have to come off. We'll need to do this. Well, you'll need to do this, and you'll need to do that. I said, I'm not doing anything. I said, you're the ones that need to do this. No, we don't do that. I said, okay. What I'll do is I'll submit a quote for the work that you need doing to put your meter in. So I'll submit a quote for you. And I haven't needed to because they've never come back to me. But when they do, I'm going to ask somebody I know very well, who isn't sat very far away from me, to quote for the work. And then I'm going to get a second quote from somebody who's not far away from me. Okay, I'm going to get a second quote for the work. Because I know refusing this meter is going to be very difficult. I'm going to put up a hell of a fight, by the way. I am going to put up a hell of a fight. Whether I'll be able to stop the company, I don't know. I'm led to believe that rough arm tactics, if needed to be used, will be used in the end. Or they could just switch me off.
Or turn you off.
They could just switch the bloody thing off. Yeah, they could refuse to supply me. So I am in a situation where all I can do is highlight the plight. All I can do is try and get the fight going and try and get people to see what's been done. You know, this is you'll do as you're told, otherwise we'll ruin your business. So when that fight comes, I'll share it with everybody and hopefully get a bit of publicity locally. That's the plan. Now, you don't think you have smart meters in your house. You don't think you have. And you're not sure either, are you? You think you've got at least one?
Well, I'm at the parents, so they've got a water meter that has an antenna on it, and I've registered this because I'm part of a local amateur radio group, and I've borrowed equipment to test these kind of things. Not sure on the Economy 7, although that could be linked back to the substation, so I'm not sure on that. But the water meter definitely does have a Wi-Fi antenna, and it pings every 15 minutes.
And you've checked that because you do have a machine to check that, don't you?
I borrowed one to check it, yes.
Yeah, it was the same. Right, okay.
Oh, yeah, I have the power density, but I mean the actual frequency, yeah.
Right.
As well.